Hee-haw! Just like shooting womp maps back home. Really does help the fact that they just get in your way and just sit there.
Ziggy's Cosmic Adventures takes place in space. In fact, your spaceship. And after stealing the creature called the Ziggy and the means to replicate it, you then hijack a spaceship and fooling its AI into resetting itself and therefore making you its commander. And thus you manage to hightail it out of your current position on the starship of the evil empire. And then all remains to be done is battle your way through space with your precious cargo to safety. And as you predicted, along the way you will be making allies as you go along. And so let's take a look at the gameplay, shall we? And this one's a cross between a flight simulator, battler and time management game. The time management side of things has you fixing parts of your ship as you actually get into battle within your cockpit. Fixing is kind of a stretch of the word, considering you're just hitting parts of your ship with a hammer, and this kind of miraculously fixes everything. I'm not quite sure why. Anywho, you're also tasked with keeping your ship stable. This helps it stay stable so you can move around and stuff. And this is consisted of a little kind of mini game where you have to line up these two like waves and basically get them lined up and then push it back in and flick the switch and off you go again. Although I kind of have to admit the meat and bones of this game is keeping your cells charged. And these cells basically power your entire ship, from the engines to the weapons to the life support, which is kind of handy so that you can breathe and the like, to the shields, to even the lights that light your ship up. Handy also to be able to see what you're doing. And this all kind of felt a major pain in the arse to start with, and never really gets easy. I'm kind of like thinking that is sort of the point, isn't it? But Kanan, I hear you all cry. How do you charge those cells? And what's the point in this Ziggy? Well, the Ziggy is used to charge these cells, and each time it kind of kills the little Ziggy. And you get to see little Ziggy change colours time after time as you recharge your cells. And this is right up to a point where Ziggy just plain and out starts venting gas and just dies, and then it's time to stick him in the airlock and shoot him out in space. Poor little Ziggy, as your AI keeps reminding me. But there is a way of sustaining your Ziggy, and that is by feeding him. Yep, you can replicate food in order to feed your Ziggy, and this doesn't last indefinitely and just prolongs his suffering, but hey ho, your cells need charging. And hey, even if you do off one of your Ziggies, you can replicate another and another and another and another, and it's always good to have a few just hanging around just in case, along with a few bits of food to feed them. Although I have to admit, as chucklesome it is when they start dying and stuff, you do feel slightly sorry for them because your AI keeps reminding you and saying stuff like, oh, poor Ziggy and all that lot. Ziggy. Inside your ship really does work quite well. There are plenty of things to press, and you see like a little boop boop in visual, if you like, as you go around pressing things and pushing things, and it all feels really contacted, all sort of like one-to-one. Every time you press something, lift something, it all feels right and just works well. And NPCs even call you on your like AI screen, and you get to like press a button to pick it up and all that lot. And yeah, it is quite good fun. I really enjoyed this bit. It is time management. It's kind of like one of those cooking games but in space and in a cockpit. It really does work, and I felt there was plenty of like fun to be had here, and even laughs because of what you're doing, and all felt good at first. And in space, nobody can hear you scream, but they can see you pressing those like and subscribe buttons. Please go ahead, it really does help. Thank you. Navigating and battling, however, was one linear pony trip that really felt odd to me. And quite literally, I just felt all the time I was funneled down a path. And this was partly, in fact, all to do with the fact that they had these arrows that you couldn't actually go out of, and you just bounced off back into your area. And this all kind of felt like you were going down a corridor and you weren't allowed to explore the vast space out there, out that window. It was just weird. It was like building an entire house and then saying, but you can't explore it. You're only allowed to walk down the corridor looking into the rooms. And then there was the shooting, battling bits, the shooting of turrets and quote-unquote dog fights. And starting off with steering the ship, and quite basically it kind of felt floaty, and the actual controller that you use felt floaty as well, but mainly because it was actually floating. And this kind of like didn't give me as much feel for it, one-to-one feel for what I was holding as I would like to. I did, however, like the accelerator thing, which you actually push up to boost right at the top. It actually felt really good. It felt like I was doing it. And at some points while I was like in the fray of things, it actually felt like I was not so much steering, but powering up a spaceship. So they kind of like I got half of that right. As for the NPC enemies, they seemed a little, for want of a better word, stupid. Coming into range and basically sitting in front of you in their ship, just letting me shoot them down. And at one point, one ship I needed to actually shoot down to end an actual chapter. No matter how close or fast I tried to travel to the ship to blow it up, it just stayed at the same distance, which kind of caused me to reset the entire game, so that I had to go back to the beginning of the chapter after resetting the game. And unfortunately, these little bits actually make up half the game, and it really didn't feel very good to play. I mean, it was okay for a little bit, but by the time I hit like the 4th chapter, I believe, it was getting a little bit grating. That and the fact that I was forced into chasing an NPC ship through an asteroid field with lots of rocks and boulders and all, and then having their ship disappear, no actual navigation of how to get out of the asteroid field apart from to find the point so that it wouldn't let me go past, and just basically bounce my way out of it by bouncing on the arrows. Although saying that, pretty well pointing forward on your ship would just get you out of anything, because basically that's all you go. And meanwhile your AI telling you not to let the ship get away, quickly get after it, blah blah blah, and it basically not actually even being there. It was just a weird experience, which was yet again another reason that you were dragged out of this world. And it did leave me thinking, when the hell is my ship going to actually catch up and realise there is no ship to actually follow anymore? Which brings me to the fact that this game is actually, sadly, likeable. And if only they had taken more time to work out a better way of fixing these borders so they were more invisible and it didn't feel like you were being tunneled or funneled down a tunnel even. And then after that, maybe giving the AI maybe a couple more brain cells would have been quite good as well. In fact, to me, it kind of felt like the management idea was the main idea, the one that they all went, oh yeah, we can do a game out of that, it's awesome. Oh, all these, but yeah, do that, and oh, great idea. Great, Tom, you're getting a raise for that one. Okay, so we need to flesh this game out. Anyone else? Well, in that case, we're going to make a linear space shooter. And with that, I do actually get the fact that they need a little bit more something spacey type thing and battles, etc, etc. But it all felt tacked on and kind of like just half-assed put together. Which is a shame, because the interaction inside your cockpit of your ship and with the Ziggy was great fun. Fast-paced fun, pressing buttons, doing this, doing that, having a bit of fun with Ziggy, or killing it anyway. It really did have some outstanding moments for me, and then you hit the outside bits and they just paled in comparison, which is a big-ass shame. And for this reason, I'm giving Ziggy Cosmic Adventures a 5 out of 10. It's an average game, half is good and half not so much. There's some good times to be had here, but the outside world is just not the best, and that is such a shame. And with that, what are your thoughts on this game? Is Ziggy something you'll be picking up, or will you be leaving it in space? Hit them like and subscribe buttons if you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've got a MetaQuest 2 or 3, and let me know what your favourite games are at the moment. So take care out there, wherever you are, because life is better when we game together.